Inflation, we always seem to be talking about it these days. Prices are like a roller coaster, the ups and the downs, but how to face those changes as you head into retirement. What do you do about that? So Matt Landon, certified financial planner and CEO at Senmax Financial Group, is with us talking about inflation and, of course, the impact that it's going to have on retirement.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so you brought in a graphic. So let's put up that graphic. It's like a chart. When folks see this, they might be surprised. Inflation peaked back in 2022. The rate has come down quite a bit. You see the big dip, right? But a lot of people would say they're feeling it now more than they did then. Why is that?
I think the important thing to remember when you're talking about inflation is that just because the rate of inflation has gone down, that doesn't mean that prices have come down. When you see this graph and you see that, okay, it's declined, that just means that we're no longer seeing prices continue to climb at the same rate. We haven't seen them go backwards. So when you think about inflation over the long term, when they say, oh, inflation was at 9%, now it's at 3%, that doesn't mean we've made that 6% back. It just means we're climbing at a little bit of a slower increase. So the hill's not as steep, but it's still going up.
I know everybody thinks that if the number's lower, then everything else will be lower.
Right. It doesn't actually solve the problem. And so that's where when you're thinking about inflation in retirement, you want to think about the long term. Inflation is something that's going to be around for quite a while. Now, even if we go into a period of deflation where things get cheaper, that doesn't tend to stick around. You know, that's short term. And so you want to build out something that's going to account for inflation over the next 15, 20, 30 years of your retirement.
Okay, so if you don't account for that,
you see your purchasing power diminish.
Okay.
And an example of that is to say you go to the grocery store, you're buying the same things you bought last time. I think we talked about this before. You eat the same breakfast every day, right? So I go to buy my yogurt. Well, I'm buying the same number of yogurts I always bought. But all of a sudden, my bills at the end of the month, you realize there's less money left over in your checking account.
For sure.
All of a sudden, you just see it climb and climb and climb. And so you need to plan for it, not just in the short temporary things. We feel this with gas prices, you know, week to week, month to month. But really, it's that year over year. Are we planning about the longer duration and saying, okay, if I need $3,000 a month to live off of now, am I planning for $6,000 a month 15 years from now?
Okay, well, we've got like 1 minute left, so I want to ask you this. For someone watching today that hasn't revisited their plan in a while, what is one thing that they should look at?
I would say the place to start is with your different investment types and say, have you included the cost of inflation into your long-term plan? If you don't have a plan, I would say that would be really the place to begin, because you have all these different accounts, but you want to make sure that they're working together. So if you haven't done it, start with a plan and say, what do we need in expenses today? And then start thinking about the future. And if you don't want to do it on your own, I understand that. It can be complicated. That's why we work. You know, we have financial advisors, we have CFPs who can help you with that, and we'd be glad to sit down and run it through it.
Right. None of us can be an expert on everything, so we have to go to the other experts who do that, right?
That's where it takes a community. We all work together.
For sure. Matt Landon, thank you so much for your time. Hey, we're going to post this entire conversation on our website under the tab called To Finance Your Future. We'll be right back.